guess the short story is consolidation is it's not as easy as it sounds. So what's the right idea here?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not as easy as it sounds. It's certainly something that has to be looked at very carefully. We, of course, have seen and done a lot of work in providing incentives to districts to consolidate over the years, but it's a complex issue. It involves all kinds of issues. Our point in our testimony today was that we need to be looking at what's in the best interest of students first and foremost.
Do you see any system that's going to come out this year or anytime soon where the state is going to tell local districts, I'm sorry, you have to consolidate?
You know, I doubt there's going to be anything that comes out this year that gives that kind of direction saying that you have to consolidate. Keep in mind there's already authority in the case of failing school districts in the state where the state has to come in and intervene, and there are some tools at the state's disposal in those instances to work and improve learning for students.
When was the last time that the state took over failing school and consolidated it?
A couple months ago, we took one over. We didn't consolidate it, but it's an option of dissolution is a tool that is an option for the state, and we probably need to do more of that as time goes on.
Is this always going to come down to incentives, maybe making it worth a district's while to do it on their own, or will the state ever get to the point where it's, like the governor said, mandatory?
Yeah, I think you'll have incentives continue, but on the other hand, as I mentioned, we have the low-performing districts. That's a problem. I think that you're also getting other factors that are going to contribute to this. We've just adopted internationally benchmarked standards in the state that's going to put greater pressure, particularly on our elementary schools, to be meeting standards. That's going to be a factor that's going to impact. The budget situation in the state is definitely impacting districts' ability to continue. So many districts have contacted us telling us that they're going to have trouble making it. If we look at our formulas and make changes to the funding formula, that can have immense impact on districts' ability to continue and sustain. And those are all questions that are on the table that will probably impact consolidations more than anything else.
Well, the regional offices seems to be an almost annual thing. Get rid of those guys or get rid of some of them. Why are these seemingly such annual targets?
You know, I think in this climate, almost anything can be a target in the budget, and certainly from our perspective, it's a very small amount of the budget compared to our general state aid or mandated categorical lines. But I think in this climate, you're just going to see a lot of folks wanting to do belt tightening, and keep in mind the proposal that was on the table was not elimination, but somebody else paying for it. So a lot of what's even happened here as a trend of the last couple of years is we've been passing costs down to local districts and local communities to pay. In essence, when we don't pay on time, that's what's happening. They have to pick up the slack.
How many districts do you think there are in the state, and what would be the factor? What is the target district or a candidate for consolidation? When you look at the list, how many do you see? What do you look at to say, okay, maybe these guys should consider coming together?
Well, through current law, they come to us with an interest, and you heard, some of the responses today. If taxpayers in the end don't want this, it may not happen. So with voluntary consolidations, that's what we'd look for. If we were looking for an intervention from the state, and we had 3 very small school districts as an example that weren't doing well financially and weren't delivering programmatically, there's a community and several communities that would be ripe for this discussion.
I know a lot of the talk always comes down to the budget, but it's been a while since I've written about a local school consolidation. The problem with the taxpayers seems to be high school football and band and not overall savings. The state going to step into that?
Well, we sort of already have in adopting internationally benchmarked Common Core standards. So, it is important that all of our students are career and college ready, and we're more carefully defining what that means. So if districts aren't able to meet those benchmarks, deliver those rigorous courses, offer students equivalent opportunities, it's appropriate for the state to be pressuring.
So a lot of the districts that they're going to watch this that we hear from all the time, we can tell them, calm down, you don't have to worry about mandated consolidation, at least for this year?
I doubt there's a bill that passes that mandates consolidation beyond any authority that's currently present in the code.
Well, how much of this is about identifying problems and solving them, and how much of it, from what those guys say and the state says, is about responding to stuff that's written in the governor's budget speech?
Most of, I think, the questions that I got today were responding to the governor's speech, the number of 300, and also the savings.
And how does that make you feel?
Well, we're accustomed to sort of working in this climate where folks are going to put proposals out on the table for reactions for all sorts of reasons. I think in the end here, we have to be there to show, here's what the data shows, here's what it doesn't show, to use that to try to guide our policy decisions as best we can. That's why we're here.
Give you a heads up about this consolidation thing? But did you find out about it when the rest of us did?
Probably just around the same time. We had not done any analysis around that, so again, it was not something that we had input into crafting or arriving at numbers for.